Hello everyone, welcome back. It's part 2 of this Wraithknight Conversion. And unfortunately, since my last video, which was considerably long ago, I have since finished this Wraithknight, which is the one we were using. But we will run through what needs to be done. Since my last video, I have also converted an Imperial Knight, and it's on screen now for your viewing pleasure. Someone has actually bought this on eBay, so congratulations to them. I hope you enjoy it as much as I did for the brief time that I owned it. Now, moving on to the Wraithknight. The next stage, you'll remember in part 1 we had left off with a gaping hole, or anus, at the base of the Wraithknight. Let's now take the Hive Tyrant tail and attach it. And it's done! It's that fast, I'm kidding. Remember how we attached the head in the part 1? We got a big blob of green stuff, we gunk it onto the Wraithknight's butt, and then we use that to attach the Hive Tyrant tail. And then we can move it around to suit ourselves to the pose that you want. And then we use the same technique in part 1, using the green stuff and using a scraper to scrape this pattern in, which then joins it to the body, thus covering the anus. Now you may need to take the green stuff under to carry the ball sack, but it's a fairly easy process. And because the green stuff is pliable for quite a while, you can repose the tail as you're sculpting. Because as you're sculpting this bit, the tail does tend to twist. So yeah, pretty easy process. Now, I've got another Wraithknight here. I got this one off eBay as I slam it into the camera pull. And as you can see, it's posed terribly. I mean, if it was to stand, it looks like it's about to take a piss. I mean, I don't know, it looks like it's about to piss off a cliff, maybe. But I recommend buying these Wraithknights off eBay if you are going to rip them to pieces and then turn them into these Tyranid Eldar Symbiote creatures. But you'll remember on the last video where we ripped off these back wings and you're left with various holes at the back, this being one of them. You could leave these feature like pods on if you want. Trying to get them close to the camera. All these little pods, I mean, you can leave them on if you want. I ripped them off and then I put toxin sacks over them. So let's just get the finished one here. And you can see the toxin sack there at the base, just above the tail, in between the sort of hieroglyphic Eldar pattern on the back. Now, moving on from the tail and the anus and the ball sack, we have spiky bits on the back of the leg. Now, you attach these the same way as everything else. I actually glued these on first, and you'll get these bits from, I think it's the Moloch pack. So if you've got a Trigon kit and you've got a Hive Tyrant kit, you can easily do one of these conversions. So what you want to do is just I'd pick the longest spikes. You need 6 of them, and then just attach them to the rear of the leg with glue, and then wrap a small sausage of green stuff around. I'll try and get closer so you can see this. And then you just want to do the same pattern as you did with the tail, but on a smaller scale. So again, you've wrapped your sausage around, and then you just want to scrape this pattern in. And that keeps it attached as I clank the tool down on the desk. Yep, so once you've got your tail attached and you've got these spikes attached, that's kind of all the Tyranid parts now on the model. You can add, you could add extra bits for features if you like. I think I covered up this appendage attachment where if you take that gun off, there's a hole there. I didn't have the piece to cover that up, so that is all the Tyranid parts attached. It's time, obviously, to do the green stuff. And to do this, it is pretty much the exact same method as the head, the tail and the back, where you take a thin piece, you position it where you want it, and then you scrape the pattern in. Now on the chest, I've layered it kind of like a spider to start, or a rib cage. So I've got 3 across each side, meeting at this like central gemstone, if you like, and then I've just scraped the pattern in. I don't plan the patterns, it's more a random effect, and it sort of just ends up how it ends up. I mean, here I started with a piece along here, sort of on each fin, and then just scraped it out until it was all spread out evenly, if you like, with no large sausage pieces left. So I just repeat that process over the whole Wraithknight, and I'll put an image on the screen now that shows the extent of it. I mean, there is decent coverage. You don't want to go too far. You more want to highlight the raised sections, the knee pads, the shin pads, the feet, obviously the chest, the shoulder pads. The arms I don't bother about too much, and you know, it's wherever you feel it needs to be. But yeah, so this is the one we started working with. I've got another 5 on the go, and I'll just bring them on the screen quickly. I've hopefully got better images to show you. So here is another Wraithknight that I completed since filming part 1, and I saw a 4-armed Wraithlord on Instagram that I really liked, so I thought I'd give a 4-armed Wraithknight a go. It looks okay. I wouldn't say it's as good as the other ones, but it looks okay. It was obviously a lot harder because I had to attach the extra arms, the shoulder joints. I had to sort of create with green stuff, but yeah, it looks okay. It's the exact same process, different head, similar tail. That's actually a decent point to go on to actually. When you are attaching the tail, just remember there's sort of connection joints where the Hive Tyrant's limbs are meant to go. You need to cover those up with bits or green stuff, just in the same sort of pattern that you do everything else. The other Wraithknights I've got going, so I've got one here who I've taken the gun and tried to make it a sort of standard issue rifle for a Wraithknight. But besides that, it's the same process, it's the same idea, just a different head and a different pose with a different gun. I've got another one here who I've given all 3 gun options on a shoulder mount, kind of like the Predator idea, and I've also given him the sword, so he's got all weapon options and the shield, just in case someone wants to use a different weapon with the Wraithknight, so they're not magnetized, obviously. But again, same process, same tail, different head, everything else is the same idea. The next one is slightly different, so it is the same idea. This one's got the 2 heavy wraith cannons, some scatter lasers, but I ran out of tails and I had to make my own tail. So in this situation, I opted for the Tervigan tail. Now, what I've done is I've got a Carnifex claw. I've taken the Tervigan ball sack, or the egg sack, whatever you want to call it. I've joined those together, and I'll try and show you this. I filled them in with some plates and a lot of green stuff just to sort of seal it up, and then I've attached that, like the other tails, to the butt using green stuff. And again, it's a slightly different head and a different tongue, but the idea is the same. It's just not been painted yet. And finally, I've got one on the paint table, so this is work in progress stuff at the moment. I've finished all the base colours. I'm just about to go and add some extra red and then oranges and then yellows to the spikes and sword. However, this guy does have a different tail. Again, I had to manufacture a tail, so I've got the alternative base of the tail from the Tyranid Moloch or Trigon, and we've got, I think it's the Venom Throat carapace as a sort of bulk part of that tail, but I did have to attach two of them together to sort of form that shape. He's also holding the head of its foe, the Imperial Knight, as a trophy, and the other part of its head plate has fallen off as it's ripped the cables from the top of the head. But that is from the Imperial Knight that I converted since making part 1. So yeah, these are quite fun. They look, they look pretty good. You could use them as Wraithknights, use them as big Tyranid beasties, or if you're playing one-page rules, use them as whatever you want, or a custom unit. Thanks for watching. Sorry it wasn't as detailed as part 1, because I've struggled to get filming time in, but I'm looking forward to making more Warhammer Conversion videos, and also some more 40k videos. I know we said we weren't going to make any more, but we tried to film one-page rules, and it was just that little bit harder because of the way the game works. Because it's not alternative turns, it's hard to film. You have to keep swapping the camera. It's just harder to film, but faster to play. So yeah, there will be more 40k videos coming. Please subscribe, please like this video, please comment, and let me know if you preferred the crazy voice on part 1, or if you just prefer the Scottish voice on part 2. And let me know if you're planning to convert your own Wraith. I think I will do an entire Wraith host, which I happen to have in my pile of shame somewhere. So I'm going to dig that out. I'm going to finish these 6. I'm probably going to be doing more Imperial Knights as well, or Chaos Knights, however you look on it. And I'll see you at the next video, hopefully soon. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.